going, he'll
Here we go! It's time to do this once again! It's time to dim the lights and let the feedback build! 3 clicks and sticks, and we're ready to explode! We sing along!
This content is for informational and educational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever by Draper Goren Blockchain, aka DGB, the presenter, or other associated parties for the content being provided. Please do your own due diligence and seek proper counsel.
Boom. What is happening? This is kind of special. Kinda is very special. I shouldn't say kinda. This is extremely special. Not just because we're hanging with Nathan and and having an awesome time, but also because it is show number 100. Oh. And I should get my head out of my phone and actually look at the screen.
Or 101.
What's that?
Is it 100 or 101?
100.
I think it's
100. It's 100, bro.
No, that was like last week.
No, we were talking about it last week about how this week was going to be 100.
Always the contrarian.
Well, I'm like, count. It's 101.
If Zuda was on, he would correct us and be like, this is number 104. You guys missed 2 weeks in the middle.
I'm seeing 101. Whatever.
Where's Zuda?
100
I'm going to text Zuda.
Deja vu.
Since it's number 100, I text Kevin because he hasn't been on in a little while. Let me message. How can it be that I don't have a text?
My dear friend Nathan, who's on our show today, created a problem for me because I'm always trying to reduce my buying habits of NFTs. And of course, then he has to drop, as we had talked about, a great affordable NFT, 100 release. And so obviously I had to buy one this morning. And I'm actually putting it in the gallery for him right now as we talk.
Heck yeah. So this is something I was going to talk about before we jump in. Go to dgb.vc, join the newsletter, do all that fun stuff. You guys know the drill at this point, but if you're joining and you're not live with us, follow us everywhere, and that way you'll be notified when we go live and all that fun stuff. Today, we said that we'd make the topic NFTs because we joked last week that we need to make crypto weird again.
It's definitely
and also
weird.
Bitcoin's fallen like 10% or more in the last week. So who wants to talk about that?
Yeah, it went from like 107 to like 89.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot more than 10%. So, it's another day in crypto.
Another day, another dollar.
That's right. And so we're going to make things weird again. So one of the things we talked about last week was Nathan is a professional, legitimate artist. He's got those paintings behind him. He's got a couple of guitars back there. This man is an artist. He's got a ukulele within reach. Yeah. And so we were talking about last week the pricing NFTs and things like that, because he has these NFTs, but some people like to collect editions, right? So it's like have one NFT that has multiple editions, so an artist can sell 10 of them and it equals one, kind of things like that. And so you actually did it this week for today. You minted an NFT. I was going to bring this up, and I'm hoping Kevin joins because Kevin is the here he is. I was just about to say this. Kevin.
Hello.
So Kevin, do you know Nathan?
No, I do not.
Oh, you haven't been on since Nathan's been on. Nathan is an NFT artist and an artist in general. He's been in the crypto space for a long time. He used to do a podcast with our buddy Ken Bozak. You got to remember Ken, right? And anyway, we were just talking about an NFT that he just dropped right now. And Temple Wallet made some kind of update recently.
Yeah.
That has basically blocked me from using my MetaMask in my browser. It does this thing and it doesn't work. It goes, do you want to use Temple or MetaMask right now? And I click on MetaMask and then nothing works. And I literally have not been able to purchase an NFT or do anything happen. But I'm afraid to disable my Temple wallet because I'm like scared I'm going to lose all my Tezos stuff. Like,
why would you lose? No, I disabled.
I wouldn't, but I'm just
so I have the same. Yeah, it defaults to that. It doesn't give me the option to change my wallet even when it's supposed to. I don't know why. So I haven't asked yet. But like, yeah, so the only way to like get around that is I disable it and then I come back.
How do you disable it? Is there just
you just go to your it's a browser extension. You just disable it in the extensions. And then I enable it again when I want to use it. It's not a big deal.
It doesn't make me. It's not going to make me put in my seed phrase and all that stuff when I disable. Okay, that's what I was worried about.
Yeah, because now we have to trust you, and it's supposed to be a trustless environment. I'm just kidding. Just giving you a hard time. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Hey.
Oh, I don't work for those guys. I don't work for Temple.
That's what I was gonna make the joke before you came on. Before you came on, I was like,
what are you talking about?
On Tezos, so Kevin must answer
customer service.
You know, you have to. You're basically the customer service rep for every single product that's ever been built on Tezos. So how come, Kevin? Why did you do this to my Temple wallet?
Also, where's my money?
Yeah. Oh.
God damn it.
That's right.
I should be paid for customer service. You know, if I'm customer service for everybody, I'm owed like $85 million.
Every single person. What's this demo screen? Is this you, Rankin?
We'll pay you 6 TEDs.
No, but that would happen a lot, especially like the rapid onboarding period in 2021, or like, because I was doing a lot of just solicitation of the ecosystem in general, like everything from the blockchain to like, hey, you should use this marketplace to try out this wallet or whatever. So yeah, I was answering very high level questions, and then the next second somebody's like, there's this thing in my wallet. Someone's like DMing me. I'm like, okay, so now I'm down to that. And then it's like, why am I doing this?
So
for love of the game,
That's
game.
Right.
But it comes back to me, I guess, in the end.
If people haven't seen it,
karma.
This is over on Voxels.
Hold on. Walk closer to the black and white one there. It's stretching it out slightly, right? It's changing the aspect ratio.
It's stretched a little bit.
Your
it is.
There we go. See?
There we go. And that's like one of the older ones from when I just like discovered that style. I've gotten it's hard as the artist because somebody might be like, oh,
these are the OG ones.
But to me, it's like not as good as my new ones. So I don't know. It's just like weird.
There used to be a link.
You know, I wonder.
So you can find these.
I was gonna make a joke about how like everybody hates the new album, you know, by every band. It's the OG stuff, man. You gotta
That's true.
Yeah.
Although I really love your new art. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just okay.
So, it is interesting in like art history. You have.
That was actually me in that one. I found this sign in Miami, and I took a photo of myself with it, and then I made that background.
Nice.
This is the
one he just launched this morning. He just launched this one this morning. There's 100, and I don't know how fast they're going, but right now there's probably 98 left. This is what he's launched this morning on Rarible. You can probably find it on OpenSea as well. I don't know, Alon, you might want to drop the link if you have it.
Yeah, I decided to start doing those again.
Oh no, this is the StreamYard link. Hold on. I will drop the link in 1 second. I have it in my Slack.
This is the physical piece.
I think I posted it.
I created that using like a
I just posted it on YouTube. So that was dropped this morning. And if you want to learn more, so he also has some more artwork back here that you can take a look at. All these different pieces in this gallery. And I can post a link to the gallery.
I put it in the thread of the live stream on Twitter as well.
Awesome. Now, I don't know why it cut off his name for some reason. It's been fixed. It should be Nathan.
Ethan McCrow.
I don't know why.
McCrow. Ethan McCrow.
Ethan.
It's like not adjusting the font for some reason.
There we go.
Okay. But like I shouldn't have to do that.
Live building in the metaverse.
Yeah, the metaverse is still kind of wonky considering it's been around for a while now. But I love it. Like, I don't think that people give it enough credit still. Like they just kind of after COVID ended, everybody left the metaverse. And they haven't
I know, right? But if you want to find out more information, you can click on this, and it should bring up this link tree, and you'll have a link up here. Click on that.
I think that logo, Nathan, you have that. Well, you have it on your shirt right there, which is pretty sick. But you had it as like a hoodie, right?
Yeah, I still screen it onto everything.
Okay.
I want to.
So
I
here's
had
what
dream
you do.
once where I saw that logo on a pair of shoes and it was like glowing, like all these like weird like purple and blue colors. And I was like in a mall. I was like, oh, that's my design or whatever. So maybe someday, maybe that's a glimpse of the future. I have no idea. But
so you can. So so check this out. Right now, if you like his art, you can click on these. If you click on the upper left on the gallery, you can click on it and it'll bring up the OpenSea, and you can buy the art directly on OpenSea.
Ooh.
His latest stuff is on base, and you can't have it in this thing though, right?
In this metaverse.
So make sure you
so
follow
this is
Nathan if you want to see the new stuff. But there's also the old stuff that you can collect. So
exactly.
I always thought it was interesting that all the L2s don't get included in these things, because the whole idea was like, and I'm gonna get into like crypto nerd stuff right now, but the whole idea was to take the decentralization and the security and everything that ETH has to offer, and then build L2s on top of it, and that would become the scaling plan. And then everything shifted back to like scaling just normal Ethereum, which obviously it will help everything else too. But to me, I think like a lot of creators were confused that like the thing that helps us do more, like, which is kind of like mint more stuff at a lower cost, because like a lot of us don't have like a ton of money, and collectors have the money, right? But now the collectors go like, hey, you should mint it here instead of there because the fees are different, or like I don't have to bridge like you did say to me, and I'm not coming at you, but I'm saying that like a lot of us creators we're doing it the cheaper way because we can't like afford the expense of some platform.
I think that's one of the reasons why Tezos got went nuts with artists at the beginning days of NFTs.
With objects, right?
Yeah.
But Economic original, but the contracts still live on through Taya and Object, because it's all, that's the thing. That's what's so great about it. Like the contracts, the people are still minting on Economic, even though the original creator and company is gone. Because like the contract is still out there and people are still using it just for shits and giggles, I guess, or people like it. But it's like the community really thrived on that. It opened it up, the world of NFT minting and collecting to the 99.9% of the world that couldn't participate when gas fees were even just like that, like $50 or more, or everything. It was like, look, especially if you're just trying it out for the first time and people are trying to get it, it's like, look, I'm just experimenting and I'm probably going to screw up the first time, like I do, like we all do with everything. It's part of the learning experience. So something in our brains, like we anticipate that. And it's like, you want me to burn how much money just to like figure it out? No. Whereas, it was so cheap on Tezos where you could just...
That's where you get a collector involved and be like, hey, you find a collector who's in the ETH space and be like, hey, I want to do this project.
But that's
me and I'll give you a
that's so much friction, and you're also offsetting the cost to the collector. So before Tezos came in, and then that became the thing that really took the Hall of Fine Art.
I remember Kevin and I were sending people just one Tez. Like literally sending people $1 worth of Tez.
A lot of people were doing that.
And then that was enough for any artist to mint like 50 things.
To mint, to collect, to, and that was enough to like acclimate you. and then even earn you an income. Some people never even ended up buying Tez because they just earned their money off selling art. And the initial Tez they got to be activated was just from somebody who, it was so cheap it was expensive to even send someone the initial ETH. Like the transaction fee of sending someone the ETH, it was just so people couldn't do anything. So it was. But here's the thing that's interesting though. People do like to mint on the layer 1. It's still dominant for that. There is, and I think this is something, and I in the Tezos community even, I'm having to explain this to a lot of people in core development and stuff, because there's kind of confusion as to, wait, why do people want to stay to the L1 when they can, there's sub-second block times on L2s and all these, because there's Tezos layer 2s to get those sub-second block time and all these other kinds of advances beyond, cost is still nothing anyway, but that's not the reason why people would go to L2s, but just as an extension there. And it's and I'm trying to explain, it's no, you don't understand. I know it's nuts and bolts to some people, but these layers of abstraction mean something. And it's a physical place to people's minds, particularly for artists, collectors, and all that. So you want to be as close to the origin of trust as you can. I mean, especially when you're talking about your art, it's a big deal that you're pinning your soul to something. And it's well, of course I want to be on the place that, these layer 2s themselves derive their value and security from. Why don't I just put it? In fact, there's people who want to mint the actual files, in the actual L1, as expensive as it is. There's something called layer 0 now, which is getting ever more popular on Tezos, where people are putting the images and stuff on chain. And yeah, it costs more money to do that, but it's more real, and it adds something. There's value add there, so it makes sense.
That's true.
Yeah, it's permanent. Exactly.
As an artist, it felt more authentic minting, just directly to from my point of view, Ethereum, for instance, because it is the original thing. It feels more real, and it is. I mean, it is. It's the base layer of everything that's running there, at least in that spot. But I would liken it to, and this is just from an artist perspective, but I would liken it to putting the Mona Lisa in a museum. It's on canvas, it's behind glass, it's in a museum, right? Now, the gift shop is going to sell prints of the Mona Lisa. You can go buy a little copy of the Mona Lisa for $1 or $10, whatever, depending on the size and medium that it's printed on. And that's something that in the NFT world would work on base or some kind of L2. So your print would go there, and then your original would go on ETH on the layer 1. And that's how I used to view it more early on. So, and I think what screwed it up for a lot of artists was during that big NFT surge, because the gas fees got so high that even if you had developed a career as an NFT artist before that surge, you were kind of priced out of the market when it came to minting your own artwork. And then the lazy minting, you are still passing your cost on to the buyer, and not all buyers are created equal. Not everybody has all this Ethereum that they bought early on for $1.50 to go and spend I saw some gas fees in the hundreds at one point. I mean,
it was crazy.
Thousands sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Thousands.
And it got so crazy. A lot of us couldn't afford to do it, and maybe afford is the wrong word, but you couldn't bring yourself to do it.
It's crazy. It's it's on principle too. I remember I was doing stuff. Remember those days when my son did the poo-poo.eth NFTs, and he made those membership cards, the VIPs, very important poo-poos membership cards. So the reason why that existed was because we launched our own. We were actually using Rarible at the time, and we were experimenting, and we wanted to launch our own contracts. And each time we launched a contract, it would literally be, that wasn't a send transaction. It was a significant transaction, and we were experimenting, and he wanted to do something, and it cost $200 worth of ETH or something. And it was crazy. And I remember telling him, I was like, look, we're going to do this one time, because we did it. And then, oh no, it was not just that. It was that plus we did an airdrop kind of thing. We wanted to send the NFT to 50 people or something, whatever it was. And it was going to cost a bunch of money. And I told him, I said, look, here's what you got to do. You have to you have to come up with a model that will make you money, because this is going to be the last time I pay for one of these transaction fees. And so he came up with the membership thing, that if people buy the membership, he's only going to airdrop to people that have the membership. And that way he came up with a business model that would pay for the transaction fees, basically.
Yeah.
And that's crazy that we had to even think like that. Imagine like an artist on a street corner has to go, well, I've got to come up with this much money, because if I don't come up with at least this much money, I'm not allowed to even sell my piece of art on the street corner.
And so there's so much art that's like, it doesn't mean it's not, like, it could be very, very valuable, but like you want it to be something that a lot of people own, because that's part of that's the art that you're putting out there. Or you have a lot of stuff you're putting out, and some stuff you'll price lower. You can't price things at a certain price point if it's that expensive. You're not going to do something for a margin that's going to put you in the negative, like where you're basically just paying for gas and that's it. And even then, like you can't have anything sold for cheaper than the cost of gas. So like the idea that you could sell something for $1 worth or less, or just to, especially for artists starting out, wanting to get their name out there and having the sort of implicit promotion of just being in everybody's collection, that became available through Econo, through like these art marketplaces on Tezos. Also, and that time, especially even still today, it's like when you are making a transaction that's that expensive in gas, it kind of ruins the experience. You start to mentally associate it with like stress, and just like and pain. It's like whereas if it's so cheap, it's nothing. It's just like click, 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 fun. Yeah. It becomes so much. There's joy. So that's the part that I think isn't talked about much, but it's you're in. It's like when I remember how like using Windows. I don't use Windows now because I remember so much in the 90s and early 2000s. It's just it's painful because there's always something that's a problem, and then they can't. In many ways, they can't shake that kind of people's memory of it. Being that way.
That's crazy because like, so there's somebody that I used to work for that has an NFT platform that involves the metaverse. And I remember when I was there, it was during the NFT surge, and you're familiar with this platform. I don't want to say just in case, but like, I remember the gas fee thing being so crazy that it affected business, and all these companies that I would talk to were like, how do we do this? Because the fees are getting higher than the value proposition of what we're offering, at least in the short term. And I remember it blew my mind how like that one piece of this sort of pushed a lot of money out of the market that was like bringing it to people. So like a lot of the companies that were helping this stuff get traction and get going, and they were promoting artists and putting them in events and helping this whole thing move, a lot of them started to struggle because people couldn't afford the fees. Yeah. And then the people would associate the fee with their platform when really they had nothing to do with each other. And it ruined a lot of stuff for a lot of people. So I always thought that was interesting too. And we don't give enough credit to that time period for like taking people away from the metaverse and taking people out of the NFT game. I think like a lot of people just assume, because they haven't messed with this in years, that the fees are the same. And things have gotten a lot better on all levels.
Yeah, on all the layer 2s and on Ethereum and in general. Obviously when shit's going down, there's still big fees and stuff like that. But I just did the transaction to buy your NFT on mainnet, and it was not expensive.
See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like it's a few pennies nowadays, and like it used to be like crazy.
Yeah, but that's just because nobody else is using it but us.
But even at high traffic times, I've done stuff recently where I'm like, well, that's not that bad. And it also stops people from spamming and like putting a lot of like crazy stuff on chain that shouldn't be there.
Wave 3 on OpenSea is coming in 1 hour and 28 minutes.
So what does that mean?
Probably see traffic spike a little bit. Well, so OpenSea's been trying to get people to buy NFTs and enticing them with treasure boxes, right?
Oh,
first wave was pretty shitty. Everybody was very disappointed as to what the rewards were for how much money they spent. So now we're on wave 2, and we're getting our boxes. So people should be dropped. Hopefully, some NFTs in the next hour.
I just think they're
27
evil.
minutes, assuming that this,
OpenSea to me is the most evil, like of all these like web.
they
Like,
have been done
most
an awesome job at creating commerce on
I think everyone
and making
in the
it
leadership in 2021, 2020, 2021, just pure like evil in their hearts.
I am sure they did a great job for their shareholders.
I don't think so. I think they did I think they're pretty disappointed. I mean, so here's, I mean, the thing is, like, so they fell apart in 2020, early 2021 because of gas fees, were, like, for the most part. And then what saved their ass for a little while, like, so yeah, they were like down to like very, very little volume and a few hundred users a day, down from like 12,000, which was their peak in the like December. That was like, so by May they were down to like a few hundred. And then came Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, and by June, July, like that was like 90% of their the transactions. And then came the whole copycat wave of people doing the 10K drops and everything. And it was like, I'm looking at that, it's like, look, this is just so oversaturated. This is not going to last, and people are just going to associate OpenSea as the place where they lost a lot of money, not because people who were participating had bad intentions or they didn't try to make successful projects. I'm sure, I mean, there were some bad things out there, but because mathematically, most of these things are going to fail for anyone to do well. So most of your market is just going to hate this place and everything they've done. So I feel, and of course it was very concentrated towards these 10K type drops. The difference between that and fine art is that fine art is highly atomized. Those markets are highly atomized. You have communities of collectors rallying around different artists who have their own followings, and then there's like that network, and it's always diversifying and all of that. So there's a resiliency to it where you don't get that diversification when it's these very centralized type projects.
It is harder to find quality artists on OpenSea. I absolutely agree with you on that. But
you got to find out
like
the world too, I think, because that's the thing. Like,
what?
Like, I think finding artists that can do work in the real world is important. Not saying that you have to be a physical artist. You can print out your digital work and do stuff with that too. But like, I can not guarantee value to my NFT collectors, but I can deliver value based on the proof of concept that in the real world off the internet, I'm able to sell pieces for between $5,000 and $10,000 when I'm having a good day. And it doesn't happen super often. But there's probably like 1 or 2 people watching right now who's either commissioned something or purchased something from me in the real world that was, like 4 or 5 figures. So they know that if they're buying an NFT for a few bucks, like in some ways it's pegged to the fact that I, as a human being, have had a track record of success. Like I was pulling up transactions when I did that on Rarible just because I was curious. And I saw stuff from... Like here's ones from like, look at that, from 2020. There's 0.25 So like for 6 years I've been selling stuff on chain for like at least a quarter ETH, and like in the real world as well. Yeah. So like there's a long history of value being translated from like myself to anybody purchasing this stuff. And that's something that like a lot of people that came up during that like NFT craze, or like even in the last few years, they're trying to figure it out. They're not delivering that value. And even if they have on the internet, they're not doing it in the real world. So when times are tough here, they're also tough there, instead of you having like this mixed bag of success across both kind of, worlds, I guess. And that's something that people should keep in mind too, like minting NFTs. Are you able to deliver value in the real world to a collector if they want you to? Like if they call you up or they message you like, hey, I want like a real something to hang in my living room from you. Like you should be prepared to be able to deliver that value to them. And it's not saying that you should quit doing NFTs if you can't. It's just that take that step to be like a full-fledged artist and all.
Well, that's going to be the difference between those. That's the difference between those who are generating some of the AI, right, versus something who's actually an artist. That if I like somebody's art, I'm not going to be able to go and be like, "Hey, can you generate me a piece for my living room?"
So,
Yeah, like, this was 70
AI is a tool. Okay, so it's not. You can be a real artist can employ AI in the way that they would employ any other type of tool, digital technologies, things that streamline stuff. But yeah, that had been a big divide for a lot of people, and I understand. I mean, it's like there are certain things where the craftsmanship and the ability to just produce something of a certain just objective quality, at least aesthetically, what took many years and a lot of experience, expertise, get your 10,000 hours in it, and now people are able to produce that. You know, I'm feeling the same thing right now. I'm using Sora a lot, and you know, and I went to film school and I never used my degree, but like I have friends that are in film and like they're filmmakers and whatever, and they're the most annoyed because it's like, but to me, I'm like, I'm trying to tell them, no, it should be the opposite.
Yeah, I'm like you. It doesn't bother
artist
me like
mastery.
that.
Yeah, like you have the advantage if you're the expert. It's has nothing to do with your. Like this streamlines the stuff that was like slowing you down. Now you can and was too expensive to produce. The stuff that would take millions of dollars of a budget to create, you know, these types of movies and everything, and just like teams of people and all like 6 months of shooting and all this time. You know, now that's just gone. And now it's all about like how well can you prompt something and how specific can you prompt it. And prompting is an art form. You know, that,
but
like,
that's what we're
part
being prompted to. So like I noticed this when somebody commissioned something off me. My friend Dimitri commissioned something once, and he does AI art, and then I was thinking about that, and then at some point he commissioned me for a piece. So what he does is at one level he was prompting the computer to create something, and then over a phone call at a later date he prompted my mind to create something as well through a request. And it's the same thing because we are the AI. Like we are, it's sourcing all of our thoughts, opinions, behaviors, words, etc., and it's creating stuff from our work. And we're no different. We're just like a clunky, slower version of it that's able to kind of operate out here, and obviously like physics apply. So of course we're clunkier and slower.
Well, there's an artist that I love has a song called "Machines Will Never Learn to Make Mistakes Like Me."
It's actually very true, because me and a producer friend of mine, we've been using AI to kind of like come up with song concepts sometimes, like melodies and just templates, like how should we section this off, and then for some reason the magic is like taking the human words and the human voice with all the mistakes and little errors or whatever we perceive, like the blue notes, and letting that live within the framework or the architecture created by the AI. So what you have is this like organizational superpower telling you a format for something, and then you're filling it in with your humanity, and it's like a perfect collaboration. I think it's really cool. Same way like a blueprint would be followed by like construction workers laying bricks. Like it's computer drafted. Like you have computer aided drafting.
The real builders don't need blueprints.
Okay.
That's straight from Lego experience.
Yeah.
There's a decent movie on Netflix called Atlas with J-Lo, and you know I was watching because it's kind of something to watch, but it's a pretty good representation, I feel, of like AI agent anxiety and what it really means as a tool and how they are dependent on us as much as, you know, we can use them. And so we're not like our reasoning and decision making isn't taken off the table, it's enhanced because all the redundant stuff is just streamlined and moved away. Like we get more done. It's just it's the uncertainty that bothers everybody. That's the anxiety. Like we don't like so much stuff is a shifting ground. There are things where, you know, I'm getting done now, just productivity wise, that I could have done maybe 6 months ago, but I knew it's like I will be spending like 1% of the time I would take to do this and 1% of the budget if I maybe wait 6 months for a little bit more advancements in the AI. And I was right, which also makes me think like, you know, the things that I could do now, I'm feeling the same way. It's like, is it really worth me doing this now? or should I wait a little bit longer and then it'll be done so much better and so much faster and so much cheaper? And like what?
Pre-planning.
So it's a shifting. That's also why
You could
it's
always
a little
wait.
bit.
Because
Yeah.
Bukowski, the famous, Bukowski.
Kept to wait forever.
Yeah.
So he used to kind of have this concept, like in all art forms, that you should wait till it's like burning at you and like killing you, and that's when you do it, because that means you're actually ready to get it done, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's
instinct.
in the startup world, in the art world, in all worlds. The people who have no choice but to be doing what they're doing are the ones that you want to back, right? Are the ones that you want to hang with, or the ones that you really want to see their art. If somebody is going like,
I can't really do anything else. I'm I'm a crazy person. I just talk shit and make stuff.
See, it's people, I was gonna say something about Kevin and Tezos, but I'm not gonna make that joke. But by saying that, I pretty much made that joke.
That's always the most insulting thing when people are like, I know, like, I'm going to give you a hard time here. That to me is so much worse than the actual thing that's said. Because it's like, hey, you little weak little shit. I know you're sensitive about this thing that's definitely going to burn you because it's totally right, and you'll never have a comeback for it.
It was not. It was
actually just lay it on me.
It was a compliment of Kevin and a diss on Tezos, even though I'm a huge fan of Tezos.
It's fine.
Hold on.
We're Tezos people. Do you know how strong we are to be in Tezos? You think we're fragile? We're the strongest people out there. Say whatever you want.
That's right.
That's why we're still here. So, yeah.
All right. I have no. There's something there. So Eric said something here. It's about distribution, right? But really, it's all about the value you add. And I think that when you go and you discuss when you discuss AI and AI made art, there are ways to prompt it better than others, right? And there's what you do with it and how you do it. And Kevin can use it to be productive, or Kevin could use it to
the opposite,
to churn out a bunch of shit, right?
Yeah.
And any artist and person can do that too. And it really matters how you actually do it and how you interact with it. And that's a good one. And
that's
I like the term.
AI assistant. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You go.
No, that's all. Just I like the term AI assistant.
Well, hold on.
AI.
As we're saying all this, I have to give a quick plug to one of our portfolio companies, Zoop.gg, who actually helps with production and producing content for artists who are comic book artists.
Yeah, so
if you are
Rankin took distribution very literally, and he's talking about physical distribution. So these guys actually do physical distribution of art on behalf of the artist or the people starting something. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah,
I need to look into that.
Zoop is awesome. So it's, think about Kickstarter and other crowdfunding sites that so many projects kind of screw up because the person who's good at making the art or selling the project isn't necessarily good at actually fulfilling the stuff, making sure that it's printed high quality, making sure that it actually is done within budget, it actually gets shipped to the people. And so when you do a project on Zoop actually assists in the distribution and the release of the actual thing to make sure that these things work. So like click on Hackslash. That's a good one because
including card game.
Yeah. So Rankin could actually show you the card game and the professional box it came in and everything. It is as good as or better than anything you'd see on the shelves at Target, right? So
I need to look into that for prints and merch.
Yeah, it's very cool.
All right, I thought I had it. I don't have it on.
Okay, well, you get the idea. There's pictures
point,
and videos on Rankin's feed you could see.
It's weird they use Target as like the presumptive superlative of quality.
Sorry, but you know what I mean. On the shelves of an actual store, real quality stuff. You buy shit on the internet sometimes, it's like really janky. That's what I'm saying.
Target.
It is.
Target. That's right.
But we support artists there too.
But as far as AI prompting, I have a friend who's a music producer, and he's like a big producer. He's got Grammys and all this like platinum records and stuff. And what he can do with the AI music stuff is like much better than what I can come up with. And it's all about the prompting, because he actually understands like how to describe to like a musician what to do, or like how to describe to his vocalist what to do, or like what effects would he put on this instrument or this voice or whatever. So like the best artists and filmmakers and musicians are gonna actually still be the best when AI is taking everybody's jobs. And honestly, it's not gonna.
Nathan, I love you, man, because you just like led into one of our other portfolio companies, which is Calypto, who's our musicians actually utilizing AI to make and produce more music out there and basically putting it out there. So
I remember seeing before we found out that Diddy was crazy. Like I saw this like documentary with him, and he was talking about how like it's strange that he feels like he's getting all this like acclaim as a producer because he doesn't know how to use the machines, and he didn't know how to use the machines. He didn't know how to play instruments. He couldn't read music, none of it. And then like he was asked like, well, how are you able to do all this stuff if you can't do that? He's like, because I have those people who can do all that stuff for me. But I didn't realize until then, but before that point, or I guess even generally, you have to have those hard skills to be a producer, even though it's more about like what's in your mind and getting the sound that's in your head out into the world. And the tools now just kind of eliminate that, which is just so amazing. I can't imagine. Like, I'm so excited. I think Sora is still the most. As much as people are using it and talking about it, I still feel it's so underrated for what the value of it is to everybody.
I'm gonna have to play with Sora.
Like it's just, it's so strange. Like you could have a dream, like you had a dream, and it's like, oh, that was weird. And instead of putting in your little dream journal, whatever people do, you can just recreate it. Like just recreate everything. It's nuts.
So people who don't follow Kevin on Facebook, he dreams about everything.
Instagram, you mean? Oh, I guess it does push to Facebook too.
He dreams everything.
It's all meta.
On Facebook too. He dreams everything Tezos, and I see it all.
You have only Tezos dreams.
Not only. I think my initial practice stuff that I did with Sora was Tezos things, but like I'm having a lot of fun with it. It feels like I have my own little sketch comedy show, and you can just kind of. Oh yeah, I was listening to these like late night talk show hosts like Conan O'Brien and James Corden. They were talking about how, because they both left their late night talk shows, and they say like they hated it. Like there were so many things they were so annoying, but the thing that they missed the most, both of them, was the idea that they could have an idea for something in the morning, like on the drive-in, and then by that night it was on TV and everybody could see it. And like they have all these people that could produce they could shoot it and do all that stuff. And it's like I get that kind of feeling. It's like you have this idea and then boom, it's in a video. That feeling is so weird. Like I'm still like, I can't believe it. Oh, and I noticed something else that they're doing, because I get so much joy. This is we're all in a matrix anyway, but this is the second matrix that we're. But no, like I find myself so happy using it. But I've noticed that Sora asks questions once in a while. Like it'll just interrupt your thing and like, how does Sora affect your mood? And it has the thumbs up and down kind of thing. And it's like, that's so weird that they know to ask that, because like everyone's feeling so elevated by it. There's something about it.
They're trying to trick you into giving up more of your thoughts. Don't do it.
They have enough of it. If that's the difference, then. But
ChatGPT, has so much of my thoughts.
I would say actors feel really threatened by it, and I feel like they should be the least feeling threatened by it, because that's something that, I mean, people like these AI images, like, you're not going to get the level of nuance. Like there's always these cold, dead eyes, in the AI actors. What I would suggest, if someone wants to be a famous actor, here's what you do right now. Don't run away. Stop running against the current. Do this. Go on Sora, make a cameo, which means they capture your voice and your face, and then open your cameo. Let anybody use that to make videos with your image, and then put your contact info in it. That'll make you. The people are becoming real stars right now because of that. Like they're everywhere, and there's so many like really just viral videos going around with these people and their faces and voices. And it's like, oh, yeah, I know that guy, but it's not even them. They're not even acting. Yeah, the hesitations towards doing that are very obvious. Initially, it's like, whoa, I don't want to put out my whatever. But it's like, well, aren't you trying to be famous? Isn't that the whole point? Like you're at the. This is
I
gonna
saw you robbing the guy at gunpoint.
run towards like with the stream, with the
We're
grain.
always gonna reject the fake in some way too, like how you can get like a lab created diamond for like really inexpensive. But if you try to give that to like your fiance, she'd be like, I want a real diamond. Like, what is this crap, right?
Yeah.
So like there's this thing about humans where we cannot
It's like layer 2 minting.
Even though we can visually say, oh, this looks just as great. There's something about just knowing that it's not real that makes us not want to interact with it. So I think that one little thing, like the reason that you value like an Amish made table over an IKEA table, like they're both, they might have both been made by like a Swedish person even, you don't know, but it's not about that. It's like the mass produced and the artificial versus like just something about the human soul and the grit of the individual being stuck and trapped inside this thing. So
our standard as an audience is going up, and our ability to discern levels of quality, that's going up. That's always been going up. I mean, we've become such better, like close readers since the era of like these sort of like the last couple of years of AI development. Like we can all kind of tell who this is written by AI or it's stuff. We weren't that way before.
No,
like,
but we're in this transition phase of like you saw it. Like there's the two versions of the Beatles, right? There's like the polished version that the music industry originally put out, and there's like the gritty Beatles where like they're like doing drugs and arguing with each other and putting out like music with high distortion, and it's kind of gritty, right? There's like two layers there. There's the A's of hair metal, and then there's Kurt Cobain come out in Nirvana and just like kind of like raspy voice, unpolished. We always transition from this like highly polished thing to wanting to just debase that and start over again. It's like the human instinct. So like whatever's happening now, people are going to soon probably reject and want like just incredibly human type stuff. And then it'll go back to like,
so I think the pendulum will swing.
Like rock and pop waves. Every few years we switch off to
that's why Nathan and I are gonna play more acoustic songs.
Yeah, exactly. Like the
hey guys,
thing that we've talked about.
That's true.
All right, Alon, I gotta go, but you can.
I have to go too. No, see, I gotta go. Rankin, you knew that's what I was gonna say. I have a dentist appointment.
I'm gonna
wanted to blow your mind.
Guys, love you guys. I'll talk to you later.
Love you.
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear audio if I do that.
We're staying on the thing with Alon's name in the title.
That's right.
Are you frozen, or are you just staring at a bird, David?
He's just staring at a bird.
No, I'm trying to figure out how to share.
He's a bird watcher.
No, I'm trying to figure out how to share this screen.
Oh, sorry.
With audio.
David yelled at me just now.
I didn't know.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just being sensitive. He yelled at me.
I'm trying to figure out how to share the screen. So we're talking about Sora, right?
Yes.
Well, sort of, yes.
So here we go.
See what really went down at Thanksgiving. Whoa, this ain't no turkey and cranberry vibe. They out here blazing muskets at the native folks.
Okay, hold on. I got people playing in the background.
Let's take a little trip.
What is Snoop Dogg doing here?
And save those on fixed income while helping housing affordability. It's happening! The Genius Act with stablecoins backed by U.S. Treasuries will slow inflation, provide stability, and save those on fixed income while helping housing affordability. It's happening!
It's good. Yeah. No, I've started like using it to just present kind of business things that I would write articles for that no one would read. Now it's like, I make the little videos. I haven't published them yet, but like, yeah, but like but engaging and thinking, and I can think of like delivery much more than content. And I like also that it is limited to 10 to 15 seconds. 25 with Pro, because it reminds me of those days of like when Vine. I didn't get too into Vine create, but like Twitter when you did have a limited character count, and it's like, well, look, you have to say what you want to say in a condensed way, and it forces you to rethink like, wait, I don't need all this excess stuff. There's a way of saying this in a much better way, quicker, and like you don't even realize that you could or should be saying that, and it's a better way of saying it until you're forced in these parameters. So you can tell a whole story in 10 seconds. Of course you can.
We're in a society now where people want to message across in 10 seconds. like they're scrolling through their feeds, right? They're not stopping and reading stuff half the time. So like you got like I was listening to something that said like you got the first like 5 seconds to capture their attention, and then they're scrolling through. So if you didn't get them with the hook right off the beginning, like good luck, you didn't get the message across.
Yeah. I did this whole thing with TikTok where I took this deep dive on their algorithm, and I fed like everything in it that I could into like Notebook LM, and I made a podcast about it. And in 10 minutes, I didn't figure out the algorithm. Obviously, it's like an algorithm; you can't just figure it out. But but there was all this stuff, and it's all based on attention. And the longer seconds, even down to the millisecond, that you can keep somebody's eyes on the screen, the more screens it'll push it to, because that means that it can keep your attention longer, which means it could sell more ads for higher amounts of money, blah, blah, blah. So the whole trick is to get past like 2 to 3 seconds of retention time. And if you can average like 5 to 7, that's why like you'll see all these 7-second videos and stuff. They're designed to repeat after 7, because every time you get a full play, and 7 being like the max attention span, you get pushed to like double the amount of screens. So it's all this psychology involved. And then even down to music, if you have like a slow song, you need a faster background image that still is cohesive with the vibe of the song. And reverse, it's all about how time moves. So like the more stuff moves, the quicker it's moving, the longer you watch it. So your perception of time slows down, because it takes more effort to take in all the movement. So you're more likely to sit there for a longer period of time, because to your brain, it takes longer to analyze it. I mean, it's like, there's all this psychology built in, even down to like colors. Like if you use the color red next to something with a price, people are like twice as likely to buy it for some reason. There's
depending on the culture.
Yeah, I mean, depending on culture too. But there's
like red and gold in like the Far East and China is like, it's like luxury, it's positive and all that. But in the US, we associate like red, orange, and yellow with caution, warning, stop, flammable, all those things. That's why McDonald's had to add blue in like the mid-90s once they realized like red and yellow, because it also makes people hungrier. So that's why they always said red and yellow, ketchup and mustard. But then they're it also makes people want to leave quicker, because they think they're conditioned to leave. But
that might be a good thing though.
Yeah, I think what Sora does, and these tools, like it lets you, the cost of production and speed of production is so, insignificant that you can A/B test stuff so much quicker. You can iterate so much quicker. Like your own learning curve as a professional, as an artist, or someone in that space, or just someone trying to figure out how to like maximize outreach and retention and everything. Like that is accelerated. Whereas before you're just kind of like hammered down by like, oh, well, it takes forever to make any one of these things. So you have to just go with what you know and hope for the best. And if you've gone too far on certain levels, it's like, well, it's too late now. What am I going to do? Reshoot? Can't reshoot. Now it's like, no, again, reshot.
Well, even like large businesses in their board meetings, you've got these like intelligent, analytical minds, and they still color code, red, yellow, green for stuff. Red bad, green good, yellow needs work. Like there's this common theme that kind of applies to everything, even to like the smartest people in the world. It's instant. They can see it, they can identify with it, they can read it quicker, easier. And in a way, like with attention and the attention economy that we're in, it's about manipulating that on both ends, because sometimes you want somebody to read through something quicker because they're more likely to read it if they can get through it quicker. But at the same time, you want them to stay on the post longer. So you're kind of playing with two things here. It's like finding that happy medium is important in terms of putting your stuff out, because people's retention, their eyes have to stay on the post long enough to get pushed out, but they have to be able to get through the post quick enough to not get bored with it. So it's like you're trying to hit two opposite ends of the psychological spectrum with the same action. And it's kind of, that's probably why it's so tricky for some people. It sounds obvious, but you're asking people to do two things at once, and the two things are kind of like diametrically opposed.
Yeah. And there's a way to, what was the Mark Twain quote, I would have written you a shorter letter, but I didn't have time.
Exactly. See, this is, and he knew it back then. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's like if you can just charge like really charge something that's small and short and really digestible with everything you want to get through, like that's your power.
Yeah, it's a call to action in a nutshell.
Yeah, keep it simple. Keep it simple, right? Like KISS. Man, leaving out the stupid part, but it is actually more difficult to say something more concise and shorter than it is to say something long.
Yeah, like this, the phrase.
I will say something short, and I'll give it a check. Make it a long paragraph. And I'm like, no, the goal was to make it shorter.
Like I could say, you're everything and you're nothing. And now that phrase, like it's a classic thing that people have been thinking about for thousands of years. You are everything and nothing. All right. It's very simple to say, but it's really hard to reconcile. You could spend years thinking about this one phrase. It might pop up in your head 10 years from now. You're like, fuck, I found another meaning for this.
And people generally like they like we tend to read or watch the beginnings of things, and then like even if we get through the whole thing, our tone, like the priming effect happens at the beginning, and like it will just inform the way in which you digest the rest of it. So you kind of, and that's where I feel like a lot of people like screw up whatever they produce, because they either want to preempt what would be maybe counter perceptions by like starting with that, where it's like, no, you're just inducing that way of thinking. Like you should go with what you want to resonate. Start with that. And then, but also it's like, well, you don't want to bury the other stuff either, because it's like you're hiding it. So it's very, but like the problem I always have a lot of time, like the last article I published was, I just hate when people like reply to things and they didn't read it. It's because if they did, they wouldn't have said that stupid thing, because I answered that directly, but it was in there. So they didn't read the thing. They just pretended they did. They think they know it all.
No, the people just want.
So
I feel like I've responded to some tweets like that from David in the past, where he'll be saying something and I'll respond. I'm like, oh shit, I think he was saying the opposite thing. I do that to like a lot of tweets and stuff. I'm like, there's something wrong with me. But it's about that you're quick to respond and you haven't actually fully taken the thing in yet.
Well, I've gotten those. People sometimes just reply blah 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 blah. Nate, I look forward to seeing how your NFT sales on this recent launch.
I haven't looked yet. I think that it should be okay.
How are NFTs going on Tezos? Are there still decent volume transaction?
Yeah.
Are there still artists here minting NFTs?
That's such a fucking way of saying it. Like it's just...
Well, I mean, okay, not me like that. Like, are we like?
Hey,
David, is your penis still working? Does you still get it hard? Your wife, does she still tolerate you? That's how you sound to me.
I'm sorry. We're gonna get that part of the show.
No, you can't. It's live forever.
Well, no, but I mean, it just feels like sometimes.
See how I primed people into thinking of. But no, of course, that's our cash crop. I mean, people love it. I think what was so great about that time, that when we were able to get people coming in that early 2021 era, is that it's like we never chased any kind of commercial. I mean, there were experiments that were done with like TF and stuff, with Tezos Foundation and stuff, but it wasn't really like the heart and spirit of the Tezos art ecosystem was always this like very grassroots, very punk rock, very just like decentralized on the users. And whereas I think the people who, they think of NFTs as the other thing, where it's like these highly commercial or somebody just trying to get rich or whatever type of production, those gravitated towards other places on the Ethereum EVM side of stuff. That kind of kept Tezos in a very pure fine art space. And that's why, and it's like that today. So people it's not just the technology, it's the community, it's the spirit of it.
I agree with you 100%. So the Tezos art community is like very, and I'm saying this in an awesome way, very non-commercial, not about, it's not about money, it's about artists. It's about being an artist and saying, hey, I created this thing and I want to release this thing and hopefully somebody buys it. But it's more about like getting it out there and building my own community within this broader community. I think the Tezos artists really stuck with it, and they didn't lose sight of the focal point there. A lot more than on other chains, for sure.
Have you created art? Have you created art on Tezos?
No. Having said that,
no.
Wow, okay. Man.
But I respect.
I'm looking forward to
I created there's a site to onboard people, Tezos.art. That's something I made back in March 2021.
That's still there?
People get, yep. So Tezos.art.
I'm going to check that out, and I'm going to onboard myself. I'm going to drop
onboard yourself. And some newer marketplaces came out, like Skirpy. That's a newer one that came in.
Is this up to date? Are these all up to date?
Yeah. And I also want to add in, I didn't put it on yet, but zero contracts. You can look that up, zero contract Tezos. And that's the thing where people can you can mint, your file can be on the chain itself as well. So people who like that. Yeah. And hats off to the community of people who are who've been maintaining zero contract and all that stuff. That's a newer kind of development, but I think it's it's emblematic of how people like to stay towards that origin of trust on the layer ones.
Yeah.
Speaking of, even for DeFi, I'm still using ETH layer 1 primarily. And I pay these stupid gas fees. And I think well, now at least I can choose to use USDC instead, which is great.
It feels safer, right? It's something feels more trustworthy, and it's I agree with you on that.
Yeah, sure. Something about that.
How are you using USDC for the gas fees?
Well, you can on Aave, it gives you, when you're paying the gas, it'll have a little drop down for when you choose the in your MetaMask or whatever. Not on Aave, in your wallet. And then you can choose pay. It's more expensive if you pay with. Sometimes marginally more expensive, but it's more expensive to pay with. But it's it's annoying to have to reload your ETH.
Yeah. I'm always usually using ETH.
I'd rather pay with anything fiat related anyway than the assets that I'm trying to compile. So I.
Well, yeah, that's my biggest question for artists in NFT space, right? Yeah. If you earn ETH, do you convert back to fiat or you keep it in ETH?
So for me personally, the only reason I started, I love crypto and I got into it kind of early enough to see all right, I want to get rid of the useless dollars and take in these assets as much as possible. So I saw selling my art there as a way to just get ETH. I was let me just get more Ethereum. But so having said that, I don't really, I try not to spend mine on anything. I try to stake it or put it in.
I know.
The other thing.
That's what drove me back to jobs, to working again.
Well, that's the problem. You stay broke if you're always saving all the ETH that you know.
Right.
It's also the uncertainty, because it's if the price of ETH goes down and you're oh, damn it, I paid that gas in ETH when it was more expensive. And, but if the price of ETH goes up, it's God damn it, I wish I had held on to that ETH because now it's worth more. And I wasted it on, spending it on gas.
I'm at the point where I spend ETH all the time. I spend ETH all the time because people like Nathan make drop NFTs that I want and participate in. And then all of a sudden,
choose USDC when you can. You never saw that in Aave or whatever. To look for it, because you look for the drop down in your MetaMask next time.
I'll take a look at that.
Yeah.
I don't usually keep a whole lot of USDC in my wallet though, and if I do, it's usually in a multi-pool with Bitcoin and ETH and rebalancing itself automatically.
I don't have much either, but that's for other reasons.
But it's it's just, I feel better because I know that amount of USDC is going to stay that amount, as opposed to having that whole thing where the price of ETH is changing and it's oh, I got to reload, but now it's more expensive to reload.
Yeah, but the USDC is pegged over the US dollar, which is constantly
for gas,
manipulated and inflated and stuff. But still $1.
But as long as as long as we're, as a society and as individuals, we're still mentally thinking the price of ETH, and we know we mean US dollar, it's winning, and it is the basis.
Yeah, one ETH is one ETH.
That's my point. It's it's always.
I don't think it's going to change, honestly. The whole idea of like these things being our currencies, I think that narrative is going away. Yeah.
So before we go, this is an interesting thing about NFTs that I've watched, right? People price their NFTs in terms of dollar values. And so a Bored Ape is pretty consistent around like $30,000. Maybe it's gone down a little bit lower, a little bit more depression. But what's funny is if ETH drops, the value of NFT of like the Bored Apes in terms of ETH actually goes up.
Yeah.
Like the amount of ETH that you get goes up because the ETH dollars dropped and people price their NFTs in dollar amounts. And so you can literally play a game. So buying an NFT is almost like shorting ETH because you think the ETH price is going to fall because you'll actually get more ETH later on if the market falls.
For a while, I mean, there is an association where, like, when markets fall and then the crypto economy goes down, that informs people's expectations on what these things, by extension, would be valued at. So it causes actually a direct relationship with the value loss of those things, even though they really shouldn't have anything to do with each other. Kind of like domains as well.
People still value the NFT in a dollar. It works because I was watching it because like as the ETH price fell, I could actually get more ETH for the Bored Ape than it was when the price was up at a certain time with various things. And then you'll notice as ETH goes up, like the amount of ETH that you're getting for that Bored Ape is less and less, even though the dollar amount is the same.
Yeah.
People have this perceived value what a Bored Ape is worth in a dollar term.
Well, they want their money back.
They want their money back. Yeah, they want their money back. Exactly.
Yeah. It lasts for a while, but
play this game. You can play this game with NFTs based off of where the value of ETH is versus the NFT value.
That's why you buy NFTs only from independent artists, because that way you're always buying it at a value that's relevant to that artist and their life, not the market.
Well, so here's my only problem with buying art from independent artists is you buy up the collection, and now once the collection's sold, if nobody wants to list it, there's not a marketplace for it, and there's usually not somebody else offering a high enough demand or offer to buy it because there's not enough people in the space. Like I have collections where they're great collections, are completely sold out. Nobody's aware of the collection though, and because of that, and it's so hard to find it on OpenSea just randomly that because of that, there's nobody bidding on that collection. And if there's no person bidding on that collection, there's no value to the collection.
Yeah, the market has to be hot. That's the indicator. A hot market. Yeah, I mean, what gets people coming in the door for the most part is still just like the surge of crypto prices, of Bitcoin's price, of whatever. So I think that'll go away. It's definitely less than it was before. Now there's a firm base of some people who are always going to be there no matter what, but it's still a big driving factor. And if it gets to extremes in price variation, even those people who are very firmly on, like, they start to move too. So
what you're saying is only buy off of hot artists.
When the market is hot and sell before it comes down.
Okay. Or artists need to be hot.
Yeah, the artist should be hot. Is that what we're saying?
Sexy, the sexiest people.
And I think this means bringing attention to your art and to your collection, so that way people are aware of it, right?
Yeah.
If you're an
or
artist,
building a very atomized community that's around you and not around crypto or NFTs in general, because those are the people you can't rely on. The people you can rely on are your collectors, just like it always was.
Yeah. That's what I was saying about providing outside value outside of just like crypto Twitter and you know the NFT platform world, is that's that layer of value and insurance for any collector in a weird way.
Here's the thing. I know some collectors out there right now who have NFT art, right? They're way undervalued anything else you would ever buy from these, right? And the question is why are their collectors not buying this stuff up and just holding it for themselves? If these are so undervalued, why are they not advertising this to their collectors, going, hey, by the way, I thought I should let you know that, hey, my collection right now is selling at 10% original value that it's sold for. If you're a collector, you know, here's your chance to buy up my art.
So I should be telling collectors that, hey, I sold this physical piece for 2 Ethereum, so buying my NFT at 0.003 is actually a really good deal.
Yeah.
So I should be communicating that.
Well, I mean, just be like, hey, I'm getting
it's-
exposure. Don't buy all of it at once, but like, you know, like I think there's, I mean, there's the avenue of going out there and showing it to new people and getting and casting a wider audience to form new collectors, right?
Yeah.
And essentially, that's what you're doing. You do a larger print, you're going to find new collectors. Not so, you know, not to give it all to one collector, but to find new collectors. But the thing is like I'm saying, there are collections out there. Like, for example, I'm going to throw his name out there. Oh my God, the guy who played the pirate,
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Oh,
Johnny
that was
Depp
right?
did.
I thought you were.
Yes, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp did an NFT collection. I don't know how many people know that, but Johnny Depp did an NFT collection. I own like 3 of them. I think I bought him a fraction of what they originally minted for, and now, even though I think he stopped this. At one point, you could redeem the NFT for a physical print.
Okay.
And I have 2 of the physical prints from Johnny Depp's NFTs. These things were selling at a fraction of what they originally sold for. It's a collectible.
Yeah.
If you're a collector or you're a fan of Johnny Depp, why would you not go and sweep that floor and buy up the collection?
Because if you say, hey, this thing is selling for less the discount, that is a negative market signal. So it does lead to people think like, oh, well, this might be
right. Nobody knows about it.
Right, but that's not like the market perception is, well, if that's the case, then like maybe there's something that like this sort of unknown, like known unknowns or whatever, or unknown knowns, where it's like people are thinking like, well, there must be something that people know, like why they're not touching this. You know, whereas
it's a lack of education.
Or if people like, there are a lot of things that are obscure and they just leave the market, and it's like, is this really a good investment for me, even if it's just for personal?
People were not claiming their physical mints. I literally got 2 of them. My daughter has a Johnny Depp poster now. That is a print that is from him that he created.
But that, like, I mean, so that's like, it's kind of like with.
Why would you not do that?
Well, the value comes from this established like thing that like has a long way to descend, which is Johnny Depp's stardom. But if you're an artist that is kind of like these marketplaces and these economics, like your work and elevation is through that, by going out and saying like, hey, this is selling at a discount, you're injecting a negative market signal, which actually diminishes you. Whereas Johnny Depp is kind of immune from that.
I'm pointing out that there's not enough advertising. If Johnny Depp has this issue and has this point where his paintings were being sold at a discount, there's a lack of communication, a lack of understanding. I didn't know about his mints until like a year or 2 later. In a bear market, when I was talking to the crowd,
Johnny communication, Depp, I think, is definitely something that can be advanced. And there are different tools for that.
Because somebody else mentioned it, and I had to go find it myself. And then when I found it, I was like, "Holy cow!"
But also I think, particularly for artists, there is something. Like I notice this a lot. Like you want to just kind of put it out there, and you don't want to solicit like that. It kind of takes away. It's like, look, you're an artist. You're not trying to like peddle, this product or whatever. Or you'd rather other people you'd rather have an implicit promotion. Whereas like people see it in the collection, they're like, I like that, or that kind of thing. It kind of. So I have noticed a lot of artists say like, that's very new to me that I'm doing this. Like once they get in the NFT space, where it's like I have to go, or like even just coming to spaces and it was Clubhouse before and talking about themselves. It was very new.
Yeah, but that's something that we have to overcome too. Like I felt that way a lot at first, and I think that's the difference between like what made an Andy Warhol successful and like why a lot of pop artists from the 80s weren't successful. They didn't want to work with brands, or they didn't want to like promote themselves or whatever. They unfortunately, sometimes humility is actually is a mask that we wear over our sense of entitlement. Saying that, like, hey, like somebody else should be promoting this because I'm great, or I don't want to do this extra work or whatever. But like at the end of the day, it takes a lot of work to build a reputation for yourself, whether you're on the internet or off the internet, whether you're on a job site or whether you're in an office building, like whatever it is. You have to find a way of like showing people your value, because if you're not going to speak up for yourself, no one else is going to. They're going to spend their time speaking up for themselves or their family.
Yeah.
A lot of it get over ourselves. And I think it also is a fear of failure, because like a lot of us don't want to keep putting the same thing out every day. And then all the other artists go, oh, wow, you haven't even sold 10 of those yet. And this like pride and ego clicks in, where you want to be able to say, because maybe you've done some cool stuff in the past, like, oh, I am selling out, or I blah blah blah, but you're not, and you just have to face that and deal with it and keep pushing it, or you never will. So it's like, it's even though as much as it sucks, you have to push through that discomfort and the fact that everybody can see you failing and keep going, and then you will eventually be successful.
And people do want to be like Pac or Banksy, where they don't show themselves, but they're bigger because of it. Or in part, and it's like we only think of those things because we only think of those things that way because they are exceptional, and usually that's not the case. And you can't have a million people like it doesn't work. Like it's generational in some ways too. There was that clip, if you look up from that show, The Young Pope, where he's talking about how like the most important like artists of different genres and mediums in the 20th century were people who like Salinger and like they didn't allow themselves to be seen. And that was a big consistency, like the true line between a lot of them, like Kubrick, Daft Punk, and for EDM, and like they didn't allow themselves like that and that kind of thing. But that's exceptional. They're the exception. They're not the rule.
But then look at Tarantino. Kept showing himself.
Yeah. The opposite. It's usually the opposite. Even Scorsese put himself in his early movies. Shyamalan and those things. You do need like if you're not known to people, if people aren't seeing you, they're not gonna forget about like Recall. They're not even gonna know you exist.
Yeah.
So you gotta do it. Right. So those are weird exceptions to the rule.
They probably had big budgets behind them. Like for every Banksy, Banksy. We probably all know who Banksy is. It's probably somebody that we know or related to a company that we know, or some kind of sponsor, some kind of.
It's about getting that collector.
I mean, it could easily be like somebody with a huge budget that has the ability to like do a press release and then call the news stations and blah blah blah. Like they have a team saying, "Look, this thing appeared somewhere. It's not so organic like we think it is." Like that's probably the case.
Yeah.
But I think
I think it's in a gallery. It's getting that one collector who gives it value, who's willing to talk about it, because people are like, or like are hurt. They follow the leader, and when they see somebody of prominence, pay attention to something, all of a sudden they want it now too.
I should get my famous collectors to talk to me about, because I actually have like a few of them, like really famous people.
They should shout your name.
No, but I think there is like a lot of, like people do have a lot of artists in the physical world, like they have experience, like they'll have a showing at a gallery, people will come, they'll talk about themselves. And it is there is a promotion, but it's different when they come to you and to do that, as opposed to like someone going like, hey, I'm posting on Twitter, I'm posting on Instagram, or I'm going to like a Twitter space or whatever. And like, that's something I think like the vibe changes. And for a lot of artists, it's like, well, the way I perceive like my own vibe is not to do that. And finding that ground where it's like, this is just the common space. You have to communicate or find a way like that. That's part of the new,
I
market.
think if crypto stays around, I think there is a hidden sweet spot that people are failing at, and that is finding real world artists who have made NFTs who haven't been bringing enough attention to them because they're selling at a discount right now, and you can sweep the floor and buy some of these affordable NFTs probably cheaper than what you can buy the real artwork for. Now, granted, yes, the real artwork should be more money. And we're not in the bull run. It would sell for more than what the original print was, which was just crazy, right? Original print should always be selling for more, right? But you should still get, an NFT for a pretty affordable price for a lot of these artists because it's been completely abandoned. A lot of these things could be completely abandoned.
Yeah.
Look at these projects.
And I do think a lot of these once hot collections will have their resurgence, and because of the fact that they've been around. And I had this interesting conversation with a friend of mine the other day about Zcash and like how it's now, and like Arthur Hayes is saying how it'll be 20% of Bitcoin's value, and that's a very big, like for him to say that's a very bold statement from him.
He's been selling all his Bitcoin too. If you look, you can see.
Oh, really?
He's probably
but it's like, but the thing is, it's like, but my friend was saying, because he's been around like as long as I have too, in crypto and everything. And his like pushback was like, but Zcash, it's not new. It's been around for all this time. And I'm like saying, yeah,
that was gold.
Isn't that's the point? Like it should be like what it's such a weird thing that we've had where we presume like, oh, well, it's been around for a number of years. So like we presume it's like something can't take off to that level of or sustain unless it's new. We have a very perverse, inverted thinking about what should be bringing value. It's the things that are time tested and true and have large established, invested in many ways more ways than one, communities of that are behind it that should give you confidence that this thing will grow, will be around or will grow and all that. And it should be the new things that should be proving themselves in like a second, third tier kind of thing. It's like, it's not new. That makes you bearish? What are you talking about? It's like, it feels more like this is the tipping point for it. Like this is kind of the culmination of all those years of effort.
I agree with you on that. It's like Ethereum adding the privacy wallets all of a sudden. And then like you had like Litecoin and like, I don't know, like a few years ago, they did the thing with their one upgrade where you could do like private transactions. And then you have like, like Monero is not that popular anymore, but you have like Dash and Zcash, all these like old privacy coins. Like they're not going anywhere. They're actually just starting to reach their initial use case, which is like, and you're seeing it a lot more around the world, infringement of privacy in these certain areas, because that's inevitably what the internet brings. So it's going to get more popular.
Yeah.
I think the problem with that is governments won't recognize it and won't support it because of the privacy aspect.
But
that's kind of the point
somehow. So
but I think the thing is if that's the case, then what happens is the institutions won't be able to touch it, and that's horrible.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to go speed in my Dodge Charger either, right? But I sometimes I do. Oops. And like that's just how society works. Is like sometimes. Like the more they tell us what not to do and how not to do it, the more we'll figure out how to do it. Like defining security parameters help you realize like how to break through something.
Or the regulatory strangleholds will decrease because they don't want people going into a place where they can't regulate.
Well, that's why they legalized.
Just like with stablecoins, just like Genius Act and stablecoins, it was.
But you got to think of it this way: when 80% of the population holds like they're not a majority, right? Like 10 to 20% owns the majority of the money. Like the average person has less than $2,000 in the bank. If that's the truth and that's the case, they're not going to be buying a whole bunch of Zcash.
Nothing.
Right?
I mean, Bitcoin never got huge because institutions got into it. That came later, and because of the fact that other things, like because it was, the groundswell community that rose up, and until the point where they just couldn't avoid it, and it's like, well, we need to. We need to get an advantage over the larger institutions because we're mid cap or small cap, or we need to get ahead of the game just in case.
Big money moved into Bitcoin.
That comes later.
Big money moved into Bitcoin.
Not immediately, no.
Moved into Bitcoin.
No, not immediately.
Well, what do you call immediately?
Well, I think the years and the cycles where we went down 95% from the value is when they weren't involved. That was a very unstable period. So
crypto moved so much faster than most finance sectors though, so it's like you can almost, it's very easy to like play this game of like ride this one up, and then
we got to wrap it up because I got another meeting.
And I'll say this thing too. It's like when we get to the point where an asset I'm finishing my last point, so you have to wait with your meeting. So no,
quick about it.
I would have been done. So when you do get your asset is dependent on those institutions for its value, that's when you need to leave, because they will collude to the effect that they will screw you over. So that's the whole point of what to avoid. Decentralization is more than just a nice to have; it's a dependency.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. See you next Tuesday at 10 o'clock.
Bye. See you then.
Pacific time.
Love you. Bye.
Thanks. Good luck with the end.
I don't know what else to do. All right, I'm gonna leave.